July 23, 2025. A low-pressure area formed in the western Philippines and was quickly upgraded to a tropical depression. Since it was within the Philippine Area of Responsibility, PAR, Pagasa named it Imong, while the JMA referred to it as Komay. The bad weather that had persisted for more than a week caused at least 25 deaths and forced evacuations in villages affected by floods and landslides. Typhoon Komay made landfall in the town of Agno, Pangasinan on Thursday night, with maximum sustained winds of 120 kph 74 mph and gusts of up to 165 kph 102 mph. The storm weakened as it moved northeast, with sustained winds of 85 kph 53 mm by Friday afternoon. Komay enhanced the seasonal monsoon rains that had flooded large parts of the country for over a week. Disaster response officials reported at least 25 deaths since the previous weekend, mostly from flash floods, toppled trees, landslides, and electrocution. 8 others were reported missing. So far, there have been no direct casualties attributed to Typhoon Komay, also known as Imong. It is the 5th storm to hit the Philippines since the rainy season began last month. Weather forecasters said more than a dozen other tropical cyclones are expected to strike the Southeast Asian nation before the end of the year. The government closed schools in the capital, Manila, for a 3rd consecutive day on Friday and suspended classes in 35 northern provinces in Luzon. More than 80 towns and cities, mostly in Luzon, declared a state of calamity, a measure that allows for the rapid release of emergency funds and a freeze on the prices of basic goods, including rice. Days of heavy rains and storms forced 278,000 people to flee their homes to emergency shelters or relatives' houses. The government's disaster response agency reported that nearly 3,000 houses had been damaged. Sea and air travel was restricted in northern provinces affected by or lying in the path of the typhoon. Thousands of troops, police, Coast Guard personnel, firefighters, and civilian volunteers were deployed to help rescue residents in villages submerged by floodwaters or isolated by landslides, fallen trees, and boulders. The United States announced it would provide $250,000 in funding to the United Nations World Food Program to support the Philippine government's response. We are monitoring the devastation caused by the typhoon and flooding and are deeply concerned for all those affected, U.S. Ambassador Mary Kay Carlson said. After returning from his meeting at the White House with U.S. President Donald Trump, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. visited emergency shelters in Rizal Province on Thursday to help distribute food to residents who had lost their homes. He later convened an emergency meeting with disaster response officials, where he emphasized the need for both the government and the public to adapt to and prepare for climate change, as well as for the growing number and unpredictability of natural disasters it brings. The United States, a long-standing ally of Manila, pledged to provide military aircraft to transport food and other aid to remote island provinces and rural areas if the disaster worsens, according to the Philippine military. The Philippines, located between the Pacific Ocean and the South China Sea, is struck by around 20 typhoons and storms each year. The country also frequently experiences earthquakes and has about 20 active volcanoes, making it one of the most disaster-prone nations in the world. Every scene you just witnessed is not only a reminder of how fragile we are in the face of nature, but also a warning bell. If you found this video thought-provoking, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the most shocking and raw footage nature has to offer. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.